I mean, the good word is that the Detroit Pistons are going to. Hopefully, I got this microphone on right. Hold on. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. Hopefully, I got it on right. My bad for the little static. But Tate Ratledge is supposed to be the Lions. Possibly could be his backup. They center in waiting. So we getting a little bit more clarification on the Lions drafting all these interior guys. So let's talk about it. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. You got to remember, it took Corey Sorsdale a few years ago as a right tackle college prospect. They transferred him to the guard. Now the Manu guy, freak athlete. They said he was going to be a guard. I'm starting to think he probably going to succeed at tackle. That's just my opinion. Miles Frazier, he's a guy that played everywhere across the offensive line they drafted this year. Who knows where he lied. I thought he possibly could be the backup center, but now it's saying that Tate Ratledge is probably the center and waiting. He might play some games at guard, but he might be the center and waiting. At Georgia, he came in as a center, and they cross-trained him as a center as something would happen. So he has some experience with being a center. So now we're getting some clarification on why they were, they took him. They moved up and get him. They seen him, possibly as a center. They see him as what Graham Glasgow is. A guy that's smart enough to play center, a guy that can, play guard. So for the most part, they really shoring up that offensive line for the future. They're making sure they continue to invest, and develop these young guys. And, that may mean that Frank Ragnow might be on his way up out the game. He may be up his way up out of there, but, who knows? Think about it. Even if Frank Ragnow is kind of out the game a little bit, or let's say Frank Ragnow decided to stick around and don't want to retire. I mean, Graham Glasgow might not be around for too much longer. Ratledge right there, right guard. And if Frank decided to leave, Ratledge go to center. I think that was kind of the plan with Graham Glasgow. If Frank retired, we just play Graham at center and we'll figure it out later. So now, they already didn't figure it out. So really brilliant. You don't play around with the center. They call the line audible calls. They're very vital to the success of the football team. So yeah, you don't play around with the center. So I think that was very smart. I think that was very smart of the Brad Holmes and them. Short them lines up. We know we got a quarterback that ain't mobile. Let's make sure we get some reinforcements in the inside of that line. And, really you start to ask yourself, where does Miles Frazier and Sorsdale and Manu fall at? That's the great question. You say, okay, what if Frank Ragnow do leave? Rutledge go to center. The Frazier and Sorsdale probably going to battle for the right guard position. Mahogany holding down the left guard. If he's not healthy, then you trust the Frazier or Rutledge to go over there. I think Manu is going to be your tackle. That's my opinion on it. Skipper's, skipper. He a vet. He going to play around. But I think Manu is going to be a right tackle prospect. What you're going to see is he kicked the right. And you're going to see Sewell at some point kick the left. So that's probably their $1 million plan. That's probably exactly what they're planning. So to me, it's smart. Even if you do lose Jared Goff or whatever, guess what? I can hang my hat on the offensive line, providing time, providing protection. I can put my faith in handing the ball off to my running back. So, yeah, in my opinion, I think in general, I think it's a smart move. I think it's a very smart move. I don't know why people want to play around with me. I don't care if you got a truck or not. I'm going to get over. I don't care. I was going to get over from the beginning. We all know Chrysler and Dodge make shitty cars. He he sped up like he was about to get over. Like, bro, come on, come on. We knew who was gonna win that battle, buddy. But it was funny. I always let people over. People just assholes. But yeah, Rutledge and Frazier and Sorsdale and Manu and yeah, they got the next wave. So, but yeah, I was interested to see that he cross trained at Georgia as a center. And yeah, you better have a really reliable backup center. Them audible calls, them picking up blitzes, all that. Center is important. So he gonna be, we'll see. Maybe Frazier might turn around. So they pretty much solidified in the middle of the middle of that offense. They're pretty much solidified across the offensive line. First wave, second wave, you know, a couple drafts. They got some toys here and there, but they getting back to their true essence of that solidifying that offensive line. Because you look at it, I mean, Taylor Decker long in the tooth. Frank Ragnow has flirted with retiring. Um, Graham Glasgow, a little bit older, came here before, left. Another regime brought him back. So yeah. So to me, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a tremendous amount of sense. So Rutledge is a great athlete. So as a center, you got to be able to be athletic. Got to be able to shoot off the ball. You got to be smart. You know what I'm saying? So he big too. He's a big center. I mean, that dude's 6'7". So ain't no question, right up that middle, what they plan to do, they plan to wham. They plan to run the ball. They plan to run that ball. So who they are as a football team, I mean, kind of like Dallas. Dallas lost their way when Dallas was having all that success. When Dallas was having a bunch of success, we're running the football and stuff. They invested into the offensive line. They took who was it? They took Zach Martin, I think, over Johnny Manziel, which was smart. They invested into Tyron Smith. They invested into Trevor Frederick. Well, he ended up retiring. So when they figured it out, let's be physical and run the football. When they paid Dak, they started to go get CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. They got away from the formula. You're gonna pay Dak all this money. He gonna throw the ball for a billion times. That's how Jerry. A lot of owners look at it as a business. Okay, if I pay for this quarterback, he's gonna be the star. Forget the winning formulas. Like with your business acumen, it doesn't run parallel with how football goes. In my opinion, it doesn't work that way. You do what you need to do to win. But hey, check out Detroit Lions Star playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance. Get notifications. We go live and drop video. Hit the link in the description. Follow me on X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Peace.